Hello, hello, and welcome. Welcome once again to the Secrets of the High Demand Coach podcast. And I am here with yet another high demand coach all the way from the land down under. It's the one, the only Carlo Chincarini. Now, he's dedicated his life to helping achieve high performance in business and elite athletes, sports teams, and coaches, all helping them attain the extraordinary. His unique approach, grounded in the concept of king energy, which we're going to dive into, has transformed lives and propelled individuals to reach new heights of success. Renowned globally as the Kingmaker, he's an expert in the world of transformation. Through extensive knowledge and practical techniques, he empowers individuals to overcome limiting beliefs, conquer self-doubt, and unleash their true potential. Carlo provides valuable insights on creating wealth, managing finances, and attaining financial independence. Well, Carlo, welcome to the show. The Kingmaker is here. So excited to have you. I want to dive in here with to what makes a king and how you help your clients. But before that, I'd love to hear, what were you doing before becoming Kingmaker? What ultimately led you into this profession?
Yeah, awesome. Hey, by the way, great to be here, Scott. I started in business when I was 18 years old. And for 10 to 12 years, I was working, helping kids actually become the best version of themselves. So sport and people was always something really close to me. But that business in particular and how it unfolded and all the challenges that came up in that, at 18, I didn't really know anything about sport not about sport, but business and education. And I just had a deep passion around helping people become the best version of themselves. And I didn't call it mindset. I didn't call it, high performance. I didn't call it, Kingmaker, but the concepts were always the same. And it was about starting with, kids, as young as 2 all the way to teenagers, and really got a great training around human behavior and how people think and the foundations to actually, how do we create success? And we did that from a very young age, and it was an unbelievable experience filled with so many learnings of many different kinds. Wow. And something that I'm very grateful that I did because of who it helped me become, but also what it taught me.
Yeah. So let's dive into that. What does it mean to become a king?
This is a great question. I think a lot of people get it a little bit confused and a little bit mixed up, and I'll explain why. The concept of becoming a king and being your own, first of all, being your own kingmaker, right? So making yourself the greatest version of yourself has got very little to do with the outwardly over someone or in comparison to someone else. And it's got everything to do with you being the best version of yourself for yourself. And the concept really comes from, the world of sport, but even the world of business. I remember very clearly having a conversation with my dad and realizing that, hey, if my business was going to be what I really wanted it to be, if my life was ever going to be what I envisioned, it was only down to my ability to be the best version of myself, because the best version of myself was really all that it takes to get the business there. There's a great quote that says that business will never succeed the level of personal success. And so the whole idea of around being the king, it's about having control, but not from the control freak point of view. There's so many business owners, and you're in this space as well, and you see that so many business owners want to have that control freak approach to business and try to control everything.
Right.
What the king version of you does is it has that control from a power point of view, knowing that, hey, I have the discipline about myself, I have clarity, I have vision, I have focus, I do the things that actually move the needle in my business, and I'm controlling it from a higher, different place. So being that, in a long-winded answer, being that king version of yourself is being the greatest version of you on a consistent basis every single day.
I love that because I think one of the things that I've seen, and I'd probably use different language for this, but I think you're shedding a great light on it, is that being in control and being a control freak, the difference is where the control is exerted. When I'm in control of me and how I respond and what my behaviors are and my goals and motivations. When I cross that line to trying to control others, that's when the thing goes off the rails. And so I love that distinction. I couldn't agree more. What have you found are, maybe there's one, maybe there's a couple, what are the biggest transformations that are necessary to move into that space?
Great question. So there's probably a couple of people that without mentioning names, but and a couple of people that come to mind and specific things that have happened. So I'm going to generalize it to not reveal too much of their identity, but the first one is really so many people, Scott, they tend to go at their business and just be really busy and just do the stuff all the time. Just do what they're supposed to do or what they think they should be doing without any real vision or any real clarity as to what they actually want, where they actually want to go. And they get caught up in the busyness and they get caught up in the work, and which is, fine, the work needs doing, but without that vision and clarity about what they actually want. And so part of what we sort of help it actually happens with everyone, but two people in particular, was that we actually allowed them the time to say, hey, what is it that you actually want? What is it that you actually, where do you want to go? What are the figures? What are the specifics, the things that you want? And they had been living a life of going after things that they thought they could get rather than the things that they actually wanted. And that simple shift doesn't seem like much, but applied makes a huge difference. That simple shift allowed them to, their business had incredible growth, but more importantly, the way that they went about life and they went about their business, they were able to compete more, but from a place of, without all the stress and the lack of I need more to fill gaps. And so that's one, but also, and then the follow on from that is the intentionality with which they then went about their business, meaning that now they weren't just working for the sake of working or being busy for the sake of being busy, but now they actually, and the reason why they were able to get the result was because of they actually knew what they were there to do, and they got there a lot quicker and further than they were before. So clarity and intentionality, if you want to have the kind of control from a power point of view that we're talking about, it's huge.
Do you find that there's a timeline or a sequence to this? Can someone start with that intentionality? Do you have to screw up a couple of times before you really get it? What does that look like?
You have to screw up a few times before you get it. I don't think you have to. I think life is growth and life is learning, and we're always we are where we're meant to be in a certain way. I think that the transformation process without clarity as the first bit around where we want to go, because again, Scott, whenever we want to get clear and we say what we want, there's so much to that. It's an easy concept. I get it. Carlo, you're not breaking the internet with this. I get it. But then it's all about what happens internally for us, because deep down we do, and it might be going on a tangent, I'll bring it back. Deep down we want, there are certain things that we want, but we stop ourselves from actually acknowledging it and going for them. So when we allow ourselves, it starts to bring in all the internal stuff that as business owners, we sometimes, most of the time, we mask behind a lot of, the business, the mask, the public image, whatever.
Right.
But I'll bring it back to your initial question. I think the learning experience is all part of it. And I think that, well, from what I've observed, it's less about what happens and more about how we respond to it and what we do with whatever happens.
Sure.
And so part of the transformation process is getting clear. But the second part of the transformation process is actually helping, or, if it was you and me, it would be, yes, get clear, but then also then becoming the person that we need to become in order to have the things that we're clear about now wanting. So there is multiple layers to the process, and becoming the person that is required of us to have those things and to create that is vitally important. And there's going to be a lot of, setbacks and learnings within that process, but it's very normal. And ultimately we're all on this growth eccentric experience in our own journey. So it's, hopefully that answers the question in a bit of a convoluted way.
No, it's good. It's good. It brings me to a kind of a connected point here, a question that I have, and that is, what is king energy? And why do you think most people need more of it? How do you see that?
Yeah, so king energy comes down to the same concept around your king self. So if we were to view ourselves as, there's one body of us, but this one body is made up of different versions of ourselves. Now, there is the greatest self and the greatest version of ourselves, and then there is the not so greatest version of ourselves. And when people start to think of themselves, they can probably quite easily realize that there is that version of themselves that has got the results, the powerful version of themselves, the strong version of themselves, the confident version of themselves. That is their best self. And then what I like to call the little bitch version, or the little bitch self, which I'm being a bit facetious just in terms of language, just to make the differentiation. But that version of ourselves is that us that we know doesn't show up as well, that, plays those patterns of maybe insecurity and doubt and lack of self-worth and doesn't show up as the 10 out of 10 version of ourselves. That's the version of ourselves. Now, king energy is once you are in that greatest version of you, everything that you know you can be. And if I said, hey, can you be the very best that you can be right now? Yes. All of a sudden, there is an energy there. There is a quite palpable but intangible, right?
Yeah.
Energy about you that all of a sudden your body language, your posture, your breathing, the look in your eyes, the way, your tonality, the way that you communicate, there is real energy there. And that king energy is very much, or queen energy, okay? Because we also do, majority of our client base is women. So the queen energy and the queen self, it's a very same thing. It's just the greatest version of yourself and the greatest energy of yourself. And that energy is very important, because if you run your own business, you are a leader, you are an executive, you need to show up in that version of yourself, with that energy, because then it becomes about influence and leadership over not over other people, but with other people to actually go to where you want to go and what your vision is.
Yeah. Yeah. So there's a question I like to ask all my guests, and it is this. What would you say is the biggest secret that you wish wasn't a secret at all? What's that one thing that you wish everybody watching and listening today knew?
There's so many, so I'm going to pick one. What's the one secret I wish everybody knew? How powerful realizing that your life right now is perfect. The fact that when you slow down and you look around and you cut away the need for more, and I need to explain this, okay? Because I'm not saying just sit there and do nothing. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is your life right now, if you choose to see it, and if you slow down for a second, you're able to see how perfect it is, and how good it actually is. And when you start to actually love your life, love your challenges, love the struggles, love the wherever moment and season of business and life you're in, how good you actually have it. What will happen as a result of that is that now you're able to go at the things that you love doing and the things that you love, competing at, the work that you love to do. Now you will approach it from a place of fullness. And when you approach it from that level of fullness, you're not in need or scarcity or lack anymore. And all of a sudden you are very powerful. You're a very dangerous individual in a very healthy way. And we are conditioned to go at life and just chase things and need because we don't have enough. But if we choose to see it, you realize that your life is very full, your business is very full of a lot of good things. And when you go at it that way, from that energy, your best version comes out more relaxed, more certain, more calm, more confident and positive, and better things come your way when that happens. It's not, again, earth-shattering stuff, but something I think so many people forget. And we build businesses to get somewhere, to have more, to improve the quality of our own life, forgetting that the quality of our own life is potentially very, very good, and we're forgetting that.
Yeah. I've found one of the biggest barriers to success, when you really boil it down, is mistaking contentment and complacency, right? Is this idea that, some people feel like if I let myself believe it's perfect, why, why do anything? Why push? And we feel like it robs us, but I think you've just beautifully illustrated that it is from that place of starting from starting from wholeness and fullness, that we can then improve and accelerate. And I think it ties so nicely to your opening point, which is it's not about anyone else. We're not trying to compare ourselves to anyone else. We're trying to become our best version of ourselves. Which brings me to my last question. There's some folks listening to, and they're just resonating with every word that you've said. They want to be the king in their life. They want to be the best version of themselves. They want to exude that king energy day in and day out. How can they find out more about you and the various services that you offer?
Yeah, for sure. So I am on LinkedIn. So if your audience is on LinkedIn, I'm sure you type in my name and it'll pop up. I'm on Instagram at TheKingmaker Coaching. On Facebook, if you type in Kingmaker, because my surname gets a bit tricky for some folks. So if you type in Kingmaker and Carlo, it will pop up. Send me a friend request. Love to connect. Otherwise, check out our website, thekingmaker.com.au. Love to connect and add some value and meet some great people.
Fantastic. Well, Carlo, the Kingmaker, thank you so much for being here. Just an honor and privilege having you here. Loved this conversation. More people need to hear it. So thanks for what you do. Keep it going. For those of you watching and listening, you know that your time and attention mean the world to us. I hope you got as much out of this conversation as I know I did, and I cannot wait to see you next time. Take care.